Welcome to Southwest Council Prevention Presentations. My name is Maria Rodriguez, and I am a New Jersey State Certified Alcohol and Drug Counselor with a Master's in Human Services. I am the Prevention Specialist with the Southwest Council serving our Salem County area. I am honored to be a part of increasing awareness about alcohol, tobacco, and other drug-related problems in our communities, schools, businesses, and professional organizations. We achieve our prevention goals through evidence-based programs and community-based coalitions. So today, I am going to talk about mental health awareness. The month of May is recognized as Mental Health Awareness Month. I have utilized some of the information from Mental Health America, and at the end of this presentation, you will see a resource list, and on this list, you will find the Southwest Council website, as well as the Mental Health America website, both in English and in Spanish. So let's begin. So as I mentioned, the month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month. But not only did we want to bring awareness, but we also want to help to break the stigma. And in order to do this, let's define a couple of our terms. Let's define what is health. So according to the Free Dictionary, health is a relative state in which one is able to function well physically, mentally, socially, and spiritually in order to express the full range of one's unique potentialities within the environment in which one is living. In the words of Rene Dubos, health is primarily a measure of each person's ability to do and become what he wants to become. Now, it's your responsibility to have a healthy life. So your health affects the way you look, the way you feel, and the way you act. So let's define what is mental health versus mental illness. Mental health is defined as a state of well-being in which every individual realizes his or her own potential, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and fruitfully, and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. On the other hand, definition of mental illness is characterized by alterations in thinking, emotions, or behavior associated with the personal distress and or impaired functioning. Like other illnesses, mental illnesses are the result of complex interactions between biological, psychological, and social factors. So generally, a thought, emotion, or behavior is considered abnormal and is suggestive of mental illness when it occurs without an understandable reason, is exaggerated, or lasts for a long time and causes problems for the individual or others. According to the American Psychiatric Association, states that mental illnesses are incredibly common in the United States. So each year, 1 in 5 United States adults experience mental illness. 1 in 25 US adults live with serious mental illness. 1 in 6 US youth aged 6 to 17 years experience a mental health illness. What are the types of mental illness disorders? So the DSM-5, which is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders by the American Psychiatric Association, have diagnosed hundreds of mental illness. I couldn't put all these disorders on this slide, but I picked out a few of them because I want you to know that when I learned about mental health, the first time I heard about mental illness, I thought mental illness was someone that was schizophrenia, spectrum, and other psychotic disorders, where they had to take medications every day in order to function. They couldn't obtain jobs, they couldn't have decent relationships. So unfortunately, growing up, mental illness for me, I understood schizophrenia were for crazy people. But that was not true. As I continued to learn and grow, we hear a lot about the bipolar and related disorders. There's depressive disorders, elimination disorders, anxiety disorders. There's feeding and eating disorder that falls under bulimia, anorexia. There is disruptive impulsive control and conduct disorders, obsessive compulsive and related disorders, as they're known as OCD, dissociative disorders, personality disorders, sleep wake disorders, there's substance related and addictive disorders, and then there's trauma and stressor related disorders. Now remember, this is just a few. There's hundreds of them. You're more than welcome to Google it or even look into the DSM-5 and find and read of so many different other mental illnesses. But let's focus on the trauma and stressors related disorders. Because when we think about PTSD, which is post traumatic stress disorder, these are things that may happen to us when we were children experiencing trauma. And since we were not able to channel or deal with these traumas, we grow up into being adults and we carry those traumas into adulthood that affects our way of thinking, feeling, and acting. So I wanted to share with you that Mental Health America have shared some information with us, and their website is incredible. You're more than welcome to go into their website and read more about these things. So I want to share some fast facts that they provide. So we're going to title this one Adapting After Trauma and Stress. So basically, these fast facts talks about among people who took a screen at their Mental Health America screening in 2020, past trauma was the second most reported cause for mental distress among screeners after loneliness. Mentions that people who have been through trauma are 3 times more likely to experience depression. And of people who took a screen in 2020 who scored with moderate to severe symptoms of mental health condition, over half, 53%, reported past trauma as one of the 3 main contributors to their mental health problems. Then we have dealing with anger and frustration. Of people who took the anxiety screen, 71% felt easily annoyed or irritable at least half of the time or nearly every day. Of people who took the bipolar screen, reported 82% being so irritable that they shouted at people or started fights or arguments. One poll found that 91% of respondents said that they feel people are more likely to express their anger in a social media than they are face to face. Processing big changes. People that journaled about significant events reported more satisfaction with their lives and better mental health than those that did not. So basically, they're saying if you journal the things that you go through, it's easier, it's better for you to process what you're feeling, how you're thinking, how you acted. They said strong social support from family members following significant life events seriously lessens depression symptoms in teens and as a lasting positive effect in dealing with life changes. So another fast fact says adults who avoid problems struggle more with depression later on than those who actively approach problems with coping strategies. Now remember, this is processing big changes. It's not easy for us. Every culture is different. Your upbringing is different. But the most important part of mental illness and being healthy is learning to process the things that you go through. It's so important. And here is another slide, talks about taking time for yourself. On average, people only spend 15 minutes a day on health-related self-care. Self-care is proven to reduce stress and anxiety levels while increasing self-compassion. Of people who took a depression screen, 73% felt tired or that they had very little energy at least half of the time or nearly every day. Self-care is so important. Take time. There's 24 hours a day. How important are you? You're very important. So taking 15 minutes a day can help slowly increase those 15 minutes. Make it an hour. Give yourself an hour of that free time where you can process your thoughts, you can process your feelings, you can process your actions, and have a positive outlook of what and how you can deal with whatever it was that you dealt with within that day. So it comes to the radical acceptance. Practicing radical acceptance has been shown to reduce feelings of shame, guilt, and anxiety. Acceptance coping skills are linked to lower rates of mental illness and suicide. Radical acceptance can reduce the stress in dealing with negative thoughts or events. So, getting out of the thinking traps, I really like this information that they provided because it said of people who took an anxiety screen, 64% felt afraid, as if something awful might happen at least half of the time or nearly every day. One study found that 85% of what we worry about never happens at all. And in the 15% of times where worries came true, 79% of people handled the difficulty better than expected or learned a valuable lesson from the experience. Half of people who took a depression screen felt that they were a failure or had let themselves or their families down nearly every day. And real quickly, let me share with you where how fear causes anxiety. Fear, and I learned this, fear always represented to me fear meaning false evidence appearing real, because in our minds we do this whole scenario of a situation that may have happened and something that you are afraid to confront, because in your mind you're thinking like, oh, this is going to happen, and you make this big story and you even put to practice of what you're going to say or what the other person's going to say, and next thing you know, you're full of anxiety and you decide to back away and not confront that situation. Those are false thinking. You need to get out of that. And when I saw that 79% that actually did it, 79% of people that actually stepped out, it was nothing what we expect. It's nothing what we expected that it's going to happen. So I have a little clip here and I called it Why Wait? And let me read to you this little statement from the Mental Health America. It says stress is a part of every teen's life, even more so because of intense challenges such as discrimination, a pandemic, and life transitions. But uncontrolled stress can cause serious health problems and increase the risk that students may use drugs to attempt to deal with stressors, including mental health issues and trauma. I want to share with you understanding before stage 4 philosophy. Once again, I apologize. I want to share understanding our before stage 4 philosophy from the Medical Health America.
Our brains control how we act in the world. But did you know the world around us also affects our brains? Our genes, environment, and social interactions all work together to shape the way our brains develop. Sometimes these factors combine in ways that create unhealthy thoughts or feelings. Over time, these unhealthy thoughts and feelings become so unmanageable that we need outside support to get better. 50% of people will develop at least one mental health condition during their lifetime, and half of those people will develop a mental health condition by age 14. Unfortunately, it takes about 10 years for people to get the treatment they need. We don't wait to treat health problems like heart disease or cancer until stage 4. We shouldn't wait to take care of our mental health. The right early treatment can change lives, reducing school dropout rates, hospitalization, incarceration, and unemployment. Imagine what the world would look like if we all got the help we needed when we first started showing the early warning signs. Start the conversation before stage 4. Visit mentalhealthamerica.net to get informed, take an online screening, and better understand your own mental health.
I want to thank you for taking the time to see that short little video. And the Mental Health America also provided like an infographic, and I took the infographic, broke it into 4 little pieces. So it's just basically explaining pretty much what the video was talking about. So changing the way we think about mental health. Mental health matters for everyone. So let's try to break the stigma. Let's not judge people. And one of the things I wanted to share was that someone's trauma may be something that's not a trauma for us, but that doesn't mean it's a trauma for them. So being sensitive to someone else's trauma or stressors, and let's extend a hand and helping them out. I wanted to share something really quick because when growing up, I recall that mental health or mental illness is not something that is actually talked about among families, especially in my Hispanic family. I recall when I would say I was about maybe 3 or 4 years old, and I noticed that my mother was absent for a while. I recall this lady dressed in white uniform. She was coming every morning. She would take care of us when my father went to work. My older siblings went to school. They would come home. This lady would leave. But I noticed my mom was not present. And it wasn't until I was in my mid-20s when I came to find out what actually happened to my mother. And it was something that was never really talked about. And unfortunately, my mother had a miscarriage that caused her to have a nervous breakdown, a mental breakdown. And she was in a crisis unit for almost 2 months. And I didn't know about mental health growing up because we didn't talk about it. I recall an uncle who had committed suicide. To this day, they don't talk about it. And breaking the stigma is saying that it's okay to talk about this. It's okay in your family. You see something's going on with somebody that's not thinking right, not doing things right. It's okay to sit down and talk. That other person on the other side that's experiencing these problems, they need to feel confident and comfortable enough to come and talk to your family members about it. And we should be there for them. So when I saw this before stage 4, because when someone is diagnosed with cancer and they get it in the first stages, we're not going to wait till it's stage 4 to get treatment. You're going to hit that cancer immediately. So the same way, if you notice anything going on that's out of the normal, that you think is something that's happening in the person's life, it's okay to say, what's going on? What's happening? And together with this person, get the help that you need. So this infographic, I left it in this PowerPoint so you can read through it, study it, learn it, share it. It's a very good infographic. Once again, I said at the end of this, there's additional resources on there. Southwest Council's website is on there. If you need to talk to someone, if you need more information, please feel free to call us. Our website is southwestcouncil.org. Like I said, at the end is the Mental Health America, and they have the surveys. It's in Spanish. The before and stage 4 is in Spanish as well. So please feel free to utilize these websites. I hope this presentation was helpful. Again, if you need any more information, you're more than welcome to call us at Southwest Council at southwestcouncil.org. Thank you.